today's story is all about King Belshazzar, and he liked to party. Woo! And he used to drink with all his friends and have a great time. And he stole all the special golden cups from God's temple, and he used them to praise all the gods. Praise to the God of silver. Praise to the God of wood. Praise to the God of gold. Yoo-hoo! And then one day he was having one of his wild parties when something really weird happened. All of a sudden, out of thin air, a hand appeared on the wall behind him. Just a hand, no body. And it started writing. Ah! The king was so frightened that his knees started to knock and he fainted. Oh! So if you want to know what happens in the rest of today's Bible story, you can click on the link that's in your grown-ups email. So King Belshazzar was Nebuchadnezzar's son, and Nebuchadnezzar had died long ago. But he wasn't a very good king, and he didn't learn from Nebuchadnezzar's lesson when he got sent into the wild and was eating grass. And so God had to talk to him in a very dramatic way, didn't he? This hand out of nowhere started writing on the wall. And the Bible says he was so scared, his knees knocked and he fell over. And none of his wise men or his sorcerers could tell him what the words meant. So then again, he called for Daniel, and God told Daniel what the words were. And he told the king. Now, he had to give the king not very good news, which I always think was very brave of him. He must have had to trust in God, because basically the words said, your days are numbered. So basically, you're going to come to an end, King Belshazzar. Everything you've done has been weighed up and you've come out wanting, which means that God had weighed up all his deeds and worked out that actually he hadn't done very well. And the third one, that all his kingdoms were going to be divided and given away. So King Belshazzar had to learn that God is in charge of everything, not him. He was a big show-off. He had loads of parties. He used all the golden cups from God's temple and he toasted other gods. He just didn't show any respect and he didn't show any humility. And we're going to be talking a bit about that soon. So the Bible verse I want us to look at is Daniel 5, verse 22. And it's Daniel talking to the king and telling him what the words meant and reminding him what had happened to his father, King Nebuchadnezzar, when he went a bit bonkers and had to live in the wild for ages. And he was basically saying, you've learnt nothing because of this. You've forgotten that God's in charge. And he actually says in verse 22, but you, his son, O Belshazzar, have not humbled yourself, though you knew all this. So we were talking about this last week, weren't we? We were talking about the difference between being proud of something you've done, which is a good thing. If you've worked hard for something and you've achieved something, that's a good thing to be proud of it. But not being full of pride, which is a bit different. Being full of pride is thinking that you're better than everyone else and showing off and not being kind. Now, the opposite of pride is humility. And when Daniel said to the king, you didn't humble yourself, he was saying that you need to be humble. And what does being humble mean? Being humble means not thinking that you're more important than everyone else, thinking about other people first. And if we want a good example of being humble, we can actually look to Jesus, can't we? Because Jesus, King of the whole earth, was humble. He came to serve others, even though he's king of the world and can do anything he wants. And I want us to look at a story in the new part of the Bible, the New Testament. And I'm going to read it to you from the Beginner's Bible. It's called Washing Feet. Jesus knew that not everyone liked him. He knew the leaders were angry with him. In fact, they were so angry and so jealous they wanted to kill him. And Jesus knew that too. But Jesus still had his special friends. Peter, Andrew, James, John, Philip, Bartholomew, Simon, Matthew, James, Thomas, Thaddeus and Judas. They had been his friends for a long time and they travelled with Jesus, and Jesus taught them many things. One night they all got together for dinner, and while they were eating, Jesus got up. He put a towel on, like an apron, and he poured water into a large bowl, and he began to wash his friends' feet. When Jesus got to Peter's feet, Peter said, "I can't let you wash my feet." "If you don't let me wash your feet, you can't follow me," said Jesus. "In that case," said Peter, "wash my hands and my head too." After Jesus washed his friend's feet, he asked, "Do you understand what I did? I showed you how to be kind to each other. I am your Lord and teacher. If I can be kind and help you, then you can be kind and help each other." So there's Jesus showing how to be humble. And it's something that King Belshazzar hadn't really got the hang of at all, had he? So let's this week see if we can remember to try and be humble, the way that Jesus told us, to not think about ourselves all the time and how important we are, but to think of other people and think of ways that we might be able to serve them and help them. Now this week I'd like you to think about some grown-ups in your life that may be in charge of you, and like your teachers, for example, or your parents. Now they're in charge of you, but with that comes a lot of responsibility, doesn't it? And they're there to serve you and look after you. So it'd be really nice if you could think of some of those people in your life and pray for them. Pray that God would give them strength and help them to serve you, and you in turn ask God to help you to serve others. Now, if you have a look at the sheet you should have got through your door, there's lots of different activities to do there. There's a fun game as well for trying to do writing on people's backs. Have a good week, and we'll see you next week for the last story in the book of Daniel. Take care. Bye.